In the second unit of the book, we take the interpersonal communication process apart, and we examine in turn the different pieces of interpersonal communication. So we'll focus on language, the words that you use, nonverbal communication, the process by which we express and experience emotions, and the process of listening. Of course, in any one interpersonal interaction, all of these things get mixed up together. And when you go through your lives, you won't be able to see these individual parts as distinctly as we're going to talk about them in this part of the book. It's important, though, that you understand how each of these parts of interpersonal communication work, because sometimes you can change an experience just by focusing on one of them and improving your execution of that piece of the puzzle.
The first part of the interpersonal communication process that you need to know about are the types of messages that you use when you communicate with other people. And the first two chapters in this unit will break apart the different types of messages that you might use in your interpersonal communication. The first type of message, obviously, are the verbal messages that you use in your interactions with other people. What is it that you say? And we'll look at how those different messages are constructed in terms of the words that you use, the language that we use in our interpersonal communication, and the meaning that we assign to those verbal messages that we use to communicate with other people, and how those messages then get interpreted. The next chapter will focus on your nonverbal messages. Your nonverbal messages focus on the things that you do with your body, your facial expressions, your posture, your gestures, and even as something as simple as the clothes that you wear or the way you cut your hair. Communicate something about you, communicate something about the way that you're feeling. And so those two types of messages in combination are really important for creating the entire interpersonal communication process. Without verbal messages and nonverbal messages, we wouldn't have any kind of communication at all. So it's really important to understand how those two types of messages come together to really create an interpersonal interaction.
The other two chapters in this unit focus on somewhat more subtle aspects of interpersonal communication and our interaction experiences. One of these is the experience of emotion. This is actually a relatively recent topic for interpersonal communication scholars to study, and that's in some ways surprising because our emotions are such a pervasive part of our interpersonal interactions. So in this chapter, you'll learn about some of the ways in which we show through our nonverbal behaviors and also through our words our experience of emotion. You'll also learn about how communication affects our emotional experience. Our emotions are really ever present in our interpersonal interactions, and they drive our behavior and they shape how we interpret other people's behaviors, and how other people communicate with us shapes how we feel. So it's a really important part of the interpersonal communication experience to understand. And the final chapter in this unit focuses on listening. I think sometimes people think listening is automatic and very easy because it's one of our senses. We can hear anything going on around us. When we think about listening in the context of interpersonal interaction, we're going much further than just simply sounds hitting your brain. It's really the process by which you perceive and interpret those cues, how you reflect and connect them to previous experiences, what you remember or take away from those interactions. There's numerous barriers to listening. The noise that we hear in our environment around us is just one of them. Our expectations and our biases introduce another source of noise in the listening process. And there are things you can do to be a more effective listener, and you'll learn about those within this chapter.
So after reading each of these chapters about your verbal messages, your nonverbal messages, the emotions you experience during interaction, and the way that you listen to your communication partner, hopefully you can bring these pieces together to get a clear picture of what the interpersonal communication process really looks like when we tie it all together.